I hope that we will continue to have the support of the media, because you're one of the pillars of the justice system. You're the fifth pillar. You belong to the fifth pillar, which includes the community and our citizenry. And the media has very strong influence on public perception about the judiciary. So we really would like to enlist your support for the success of the projects of the judiciary and the good image that the judiciary will have among our people. I'm ready to answer questions.
Thank you, Chief. The first to ask a question is Edu Punay of the Philippine Star.
Hi.
First and foremost, we would like, on behalf of the Congress Office, we would like to congratulate you on your appointment.
Thank you very much.
I have two questions. First and foremost, we all know that for any appointment in the judiciary, especially in positions, it's a challenge for the appointee to prove independence from the appointing authority. How do you think you do this?
I will have no problem about maintaining the independence of the judiciary. I'd like to inform everyone that up to this time, I have not met the president. I've not seen him. I have not approached him, whether directly or through anybody. So he appointed me without knowing me personally. So I don't think that the president would do anything that will impair the independence of the judiciary. We would like to express our appreciation that the president has that strong political will to see to it that the merit system, which is the hallmark of public appointment in public service, is followed, and upholding the time-honored tradition of seniority in the Supreme Court.
Edu, you have a follow-up related?
Since you mentioned seniority, then this is also announced by the president himself as one of the basis for your appointment. Can you just explain to the public how important seniority is?
Seniority is important because one who is senior will have a vast experience as to the workings of the court. And it is expected that the senior members of the court will have the respect of the rest of the members of the court.
Oops, second one wrong. Next to ask a question is Leon of Rappler. Leon Buwan.
Yes. Thank you.
Congratulations message. Ombudsman Samuel Marquez called you the first female Chief Justice. Do you consider for yourself as the first female Chief Justice?
Technically, I think he is correct.
Second question related?
Chief, in your JBC interview, you said one of your reforms would be the DISP. Ano po yung aasahan ng Politico for the next 2 months under your leadership?
Oh, you mentioned EISP for the information of the public. That is the Judiciary-wide Enterprise Information System Plan. That was conceived as early as 2009. The court approved already this the information and communication technology for the entire judiciary. That was during the time of Chief Justice Puno, and then it was continued by Chief Justice Renato Corona. And during those period, I was the head of the Management Committee on Judicial Reform Support Project. And so we already had three projects, important projects in the pipeline. And I think these projects are very important for the judiciary. You know, the first one is the Judiciary Case Management System, the JCMS, that would have track the progress of a case from the trial court to the appellate court and up to the Supreme Court. And at the time that of the incumbency of Chief Justice Renato Corona, we already prepared the terms of reference for the bidding out of the consultancy of this project. But unfortunately, it was stopped when Chief Justice Corona was booted out of office. And then there's another project, computerization project, which is the enterprise resource plan, and that means that the financial system, the accounting, auditing, the leaves and attendance of employees and officials of the court, among others, will be recorded, and that will greatly facilitate the management of the court. At that time, during the time of Chief Justice Renato Corona, that was already there was already a term of reference for the bidding out of the consultancy. Again, that was stopped. So I believe that is a very important project for the court. Then the third one is the Supreme Court case management system, and that would upgrade the case management system in the Supreme Court that we have now, which has been existing since 1994. The terms of reference also for this project was already prepared during the time of Chief Justice Renato Corona. Unfortunately, all of these projects were stopped. And so they were already in the pipeline, and it will be very easy for me to revive all of these projects. And I have discussed with our officials in the Management Information Service Office that we will have to work on this as soon as we can. And I was promised that in 2 or 3 weeks we will be able to update these three major projects on computerization of the court.
Thank you, Chief.
That will be very important, and that will be beneficial to the efficient and effective operation of the judiciary from the trial court up to the Supreme Court.
Thank you, Chief. The next to ask a question is Angel Alimario, CNN Philippines.
Yes. Thank you.
What can you say about people saying that your appointment was just a reward because you voted to oust Maria Luisa?
I think they should look at my record. I've been in government for 45 years now, and by the time I retire, I would have served 45 years and 8 months in government. I worked in the Supreme Court for 5 years as a young lawyer. I transferred to the Department of Justice, where I worked for 19 years. I was promoted to the Sandigan Bayan in 1997. I became the presiding justice of the Sandigan Bayan in 2004. So I served for 10 years in the Sandigan Bayan and occupied the highest position there, which is the position of the presiding justice. And after that, I was promoted to the Supreme Court, and I've been working here since 2007. So I think people should just look at my track record, my long service in the judiciary, and I don't think that one incident, like you mentioned, would have been enough for me to be elevated to this highest position in the judiciary.
Thank you, Chief. Do you have a related follow-up?
Your message to your critics and those people who are still up to now questioning your.
I think we should all move on and work together for the good of our judiciary. Let's put the past behind us. But of course, we should not forget the lessons that we learned in that event in the history of the judiciary.
Thank you po. Next to us is Dana Pingkongko, GMA Network. Sa baba po.
Thank you.
Two more.
When we look at the duration of your tenure, you will be retiring on over 8, and it will be as over a month. What legacy do you want to leave behind? What mark do you want to leave behind in the Castro?
You know, all of us in the court should not begin working when we become Chief Justice. We should work as early as the time that we are first appointed to the court, and that was what I did. So, whatever legacy I may leave behind when I retire is not the product of 2 months or weeks. I've been working on this for many years already. In fact, even when the position of Chief Justice was beyond my imagination, I was already working on many projects which I want to be done when I retire, not as chief, but as an associate justice. And I am very happy that I did that because I will just have to continue these projects that I have started way before, years before my retirement in October. For instance, I'll give you an example. I'm the chair of the Committee on Family Courts and Juvenile Concerns. And I was appointed in September of 2014. And I started working as early as that to find out what's wrong. Why don't we have regular family courts? From 1997, that was about 18 years ago, our family courts are regional trial courts designated as family courts, although family courts were already created in 1997. So I worked vigorously to see to it that regular family courts are funded by Congress. And true enough, in 2015, we were able to convince Congress to fund family courts beginning 2016. So what we did was to see to it that we recommend the organization of family courts in batches because it is physically or impossible to do all of this throughout the country one time. So we decided to do it by batches, and we were successful in 2016. Congress funded 48 family courts, regular family courts, no longer regional trial courts, but genuine family courts as created by law. And in 2017, we were able to secure funding for additional 50 family courts. And in 2018, we have another batch of 39 family courts. And after that, another batch in 2019, consisting of 50 family courts. So as you see, I will not be working only for 2 months. I've been working for years, since 2009 for the computerization of the judiciary. And since 2014, I've been working for the organization of regular family courts and also the reforms in the rules, Supreme Court rules pertaining to family cases and cases involving children in conflict with the law. And I cannot mention any more here because there were so many of them. We were able to secure the approval of the court en banc. My committee on family courts and juvenile concern were able to secure so many reforms with respect to the processes followed by the family courts and with respect to the rules applicable to children in conflict with the law.
Thank you, Chief. Related follow-up? Just one.
Just medyo related yung first. Siguro, please allow me to raise my question. How do you want the public to remember the Castro court?
I want the Castro court to be remembered as the court which restored collegiality in the Supreme Court. The court which was able to institute several reforms in the judicial processes. And I think we can do that in such a way that the processes in the judiciary becomes more expeditious, less costly, and more accessible to the general public.
Thank you, Chief. We have two more questioners. So, Tetch.
Earlier about
as I mentioned during my public interview before the JBC, Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno designated me as the head of the Committee on Family Courts and Juvenile Concerns. And that is where, it was in that committee where I was able to accomplish much with respect to the processes followed by the family courts.
Thank you. That's follow-up. Okay, last for this round, Ina, Reformina, ABS-CBN.
Thank you.
Having come from that painful episode in the district judiciary, in your very own words, what is the state of the judiciary today?
Well, it's working. As Senior Associate Justice Carpio mentioned early on, we're working normally, and I'm happy that I have the support of all of my colleagues. They were all present during my first day of work, and I appreciate very much the warm welcome that I got from all of them.
Actually, that was also my second question. On a lighter note, Chief, what took place during your oath taking? Can you give us an idea as to what went on in your oath taking?
Today, as I said, there was a warm welcome from the members of the court, and there was no disruption as to how we do things normally during en-banc session. But of course, there was applause coming from them when we first saw each other, and they all congratulated me. I did not perceive any untoward feeling, so I'm so happy that I get the support of all of them.
Okay. One more question before we end, because the Chief Justice has to prepare for oral arguments later. Sige, please.
I have no time to think about it because as you mentioned, I have very few weeks to work here in the court, and I do not want it to be distracted by anything else. So my schedule is full. I have so many activities set these coming days and weeks, so I do not wish to be distracted by that.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you for your time.
Bye-bye.
Baka wala na, hindi pa nagla-lunch si Chief, so pakainin niyo muna. Dumiretso siya dito. Thank you. Oral arguments are at 2:30. 2:30. Okay.